We're going to do a Chemex today. This is one of my favorite pour-over methods. When I say pour-over, it's really anything from your home drip coffee maker all the way through to the super nerded out scales and Chemex filters and everything else going on. But at its core, we're just pouring some hot water through some coffee grounds, and we're hopefully going to make a delicious brew out of it. So I've already pre-ground this. The first thing I need to figure out is my brew ratio, how much coffee to how much water. It's easy for me with a scale. The pros use a scale. They'll do a gram of coffee to 15 grams of water or whatever. If you're at home, just check below. We'll put the little ratio in as far as tablespoons and scoops. So for Chemex, the grind looks like this. It's kind of a medium coarse, almost coarse grind actually. What I'm trying to do is get a 6-ish minute brew time here. You know, your coffee maker is going to have its brew time. It'll be kind of automatic. But if I'm doing it manually, I'm shooting for about a 6-minute brew time. If it's much longer than that, that means my grind was too fine and I've got to coarsen it up. If it's much shorter than that, it's the opposite. So roughly this amount of grind is going to get me about a 6-minute brew time with a Chemex. First thing I need to do here, if I'm doing the manual pour over, is I got to get the paper flavor out of my paper filter, and I need to preheat my vessel. So I'm going to pour some hot water in with no grinds. Get the paper flavor out. Let this all warm up. We're brewing into glass. It's not insulated, so a little heat in the beginning is going to help a lot with serving a nice hot cup of coffee afterwards. All right, so we're preheated. Filter's wet. Vessel's hot. I'm going to dump my, in this case, 60 grams of beans in. I'm going to brew 750 ml. It's a 1 to 12 brew ratio. Techno nerd speak here. Basically now I'm just going to emulate what a coffee maker at home is going to do. I'm just doing the manual version of it. First step here is I'm going to pour twice the weight of the coffee I've got in here. So really it's enough to fully wet the grounds, but not enough to meaningfully start the brew process. I want to get everything pre-bloomed. There's carbon dioxide that's bound up in these grounds. I want to let that bubble off so that when I start really hitting it with the water, it's going to evenly wet. It's going to evenly extract to get all the good stuff out. If I fill this up while the bubbling is happening, we're going to get channeling in the bed. We're going to over-extract parts of the coffee grounds. We're going to under-extract other parts of the coffee grounds. That's not going to be delicious. All right, so we're about 30 seconds in. I've done my pre-wet, and now I'm going to start my first pour. Typically with a pour over, you would have a pre-wet and then 3 equal pours afterwards. I'm sure there's plenty of nerdy reasons why it's that, but really that's the basic constraint of there's only so much water you can fit up in the brew filter at any given time. But I'm doing nice even pours here, a nice slow hot water pour. At the end of this, I'm going to look at the grounds bed afterwards. I want it to have been pretty flat and level. If I've got lots of divots and undulations, that means I was too aggressive with my pouring. It means I may have over-extracted some parts of the coffee bed and under-extracted other parts. We're using my half-stack decaf. This is a great afternoon sipper. You know, decaf is 99-point-something% caffeine-free. There's a very tiny amount that's still in there, but for me, it's I just love the flavor of it. And in the afternoon, it's a great pick-me-up without the full jolt of what I'm used to getting in the morning. All right, so we're ready for pour number 2. Starting in the center, working my way out. So your home coffee maker is going to be doing pulses of water throughout the brew. And so you're going to have much less control over your brew if you're just putting grounds into a home coffee maker. The way you adjust your grinds with a home coffee maker is after the brew is done, if you've got the right amount of tablespoons per cup of coffee, you look at how far up the grounds have come up the wet filter. If it's about 3/4 of the way up is where I like to see it. If it gets higher than that and potentially even overflows the filter, that means your grind was too fine. There was too much resistance when the water came in. And then conversely, if the ground looks like it barely came up at all in the filter, that means your grinds were too coarse. The water just flowed right through, and you probably left a lot of delicious flavor in the coffee grounds. One of the other variables I'm working with here is water temperature. So ideally, I want to be brewing at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, plus or minus 5. The way to get that at home, if you're doing a pour over, is if you have a kettle on the stove and you bring it up to a boil, you give it 3-4 minutes off the boil, and you should be right around that 205-degree range. There's plenty of kettles, pour-over kettles that you can get online or in a coffee store or accessory shop that will hold temperature for you. In this case, I've just got an electric kettle that's set to the 205 that comes down with me as I'm pouring. But your home coffee maker is going to manage the temperature itself. If it's a decent one, it'll keep you in a good temperature range. The important piece to that is you need the temperature for the entire brew. The cheaper coffee makers, they might hit that 195 at the beginning part of the brew, but they might not be able to maintain it the whole way through. So 195 to 205 for water temperature. My grind, I'm basically adjusting based on the brew extraction time. I want to use filtered water, not distilled. Distilled is not going to have enough hardness in it to be able to properly extract coffee. But your tap water is going to be a little bit too hard. So even a Brita or a pre-filtered kind of water is fine. We use all the expensive filtration at our shops to make sure we're getting it right exactly in the zone. But if you have even a light bit of filtration, that's going to help your extractions. All right, we're brewed. Just about in the right time zone. Join me. It's really sweet, a little bit of raisins, a little bit of cranberry. Nice nuttiness and caramel. That's our decaf. We always use water process in our decaf beans. Currently, this is a blend of Brazil and Peru that we're using at the moment, but I'm typically sourcing in that neighborhood. Honduras, Peru, Mexico, occasionally Brazil. Cheers to no tariffs on our decaf coffee and any other coffees.